It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day. And we are back in Granite Hills. This installation went in only a year and a half ago. Now, for a little backstory, Granite Hills is a suburb of El Cajon, which is in the East County of San Diego, and it gets hot, especially here. So I met with our client Susan, and we both, worked really hard to identify plants that would thrive throughout the hot months of the year, and I think we succeeded. This has grown beyond my wildest expectations. I mean, look at this Aloe we discussed today. If you had told me that this was going to get this big this fast, I would have said absolutely not. I would have staked my life on the fact that this would never have gotten this big after just a year and a half. But lo and behold, here we are, and we have had to trim a couple of the leaves because they have worked their way into the walk path. And the client has had to warn guests to her home, oh, be careful, don't get poked. So what we're going to do, not now, we're going to wait until after the bloom cycle's complete. We're going to move the Spherox over a couple of feet.
It'll bleed red too.
Yes, and the sap on the aloe is actually red, so we have a bucket here to catch it so we don't disturb the walkway. Over here, we have this mystery yucca. If you want to get in on that, Hannah, you all are so smart. If anyone could please tell me what this is, cool points to you. It is variegated and it's very hairy. Unlike anything I have ever seen before, I got it as a one-off at Waterwise Botanicals. They didn't know what it was either, so here we are on that. I bought this Aloe Cameronii stand. This was a 15-gallon plant, so it was already multi-head, but look at how big and beautiful it is. This Crassula ovata golem is looking absolutely stunning. I'm really pleased. I'm not going to do a thing with this.
Are you going to do anything with this?
But yes, this plant, the Aloe Cameronii, I am going to take my handy-dandy loppers, and I'm going to be cutting off some of the heads and, just dialing this in, making this smaller. I don't like the way it's competing with that yucca. So in the back here, we have Crassula Argentia Sunset, which is also behaving itself very nicely. The Aluaudia procera, client would like to see just this one stem, this one trunk with the three top pieces, so I'm going to be cutting back a lot of the Aluaudia, and then I will have a lot of cuttings that I can work in somewhere else in the garden. The Puerto Afrovaragata is getting ready to bloom. See those pink flowers that are starting? That's very, very exciting. The Fungulata behind it is also looking great. I'm not going to bother that. But unfortunately, a lot of our aloes, our smaller aloes, have developed mite. See down in there? There's aloe mite. So we're going to have to dispose of a number of the aloes, unfortunately. I'm going to cut some of the bottom leaves off of this Dazzlerian longissimum. The Mediopicta alba has gotten bigger than I would have thought, also in just a year and a half, and she's thrown off some babies that are non-variegated. One there, one back there, then a really cute variegated pup right here.
By the mangave, there's another.
Yeah, and then there's another non-variegate up there by the mangave, so we will also extract those. The mangaves, we have 2 stands that we're going to be digging out of the ground, dividing, and then placing a few back. I've also unfortunately got some alomite here in the Cynthia Giddy, so we'll have to work on that. And this Euphorbia balsamifolia is going to need lacing, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to move the Euphorbia trigona, can't even see it, over pretty much where this rock is right here because it's completely hidden. The Dracaena Draco is looking great. Don't need to do a thing with that. I'll check these Dorotheas also, make sure there's no alomite going on there. We have another really beautiful yucca here. This agave quadricolor. I I don't, did we ever get a consensus on how many pups she wanted to keep on
Well,
this?
I think it looks good. It's like it's a ribbon. We
True,
could probably take
yeah.
some off, but I think it.
Yeah, she's got, I think I will thin out the herd a little bit since
Little
we are
ones.
only here once a year. We might get rid of some of these quadricolor pups, but it's a really, really beautiful plant, and she's thrown off some very, very impressive variegates. The Echeveria Sahara, the one soft plant that we have in this installation, it used to be over here, it was too hot, microclimatically unhappy, so we moved it 6 feet over here where it gets more shade, and it has been thriving. So that was the only mistake that we made in this installation, was that Sahara. But we fixed it. So we got our work cut out for us. We are going to roll up our sleeves and dive in.
Okay, so you take your shovel and you pop one out at a time.
All right, so it took us a couple hours, but we knocked it out. Just a few more little tiny things to do. If you notice tip burn on the end of your aloes, you can just clip off the affected parts. No problemo. That's just kind of cosmetic. Pretty typical. It's from salt in the water, old age, a myriad of different things could have caused a little bit of dieback at the end of the leaves, but easily trimmed. Yeah, I opened up, I cut quite a few Cameronii off of this stand, and, because I wanted to expose that beautiful Yucca. You also notice that I limbed the Aluaudia procera up pretty dramatically. We've got 7 or 8 new pieces to start new plants, so that's exciting, but this just looks more symmetrical and balanced in this landscape. I had to dig out this stand of ruticope, aloe ruticope, because there was some aloe mite in it, but I checked the pieces that I replaced very carefully and didn't see any evidence whatsoever. Did not touch the Puerto Carya or the undulata. Happy with that right there. Took off all the pups away from the Mediopicta alba, limbed up the Dazzlerian longissimum. We took truckloads of mangave out of this garden and then just replaced pieces, replaced cuttings. If the arms, or the leaves, if you will, of your mangaves get long and they're encroaching on the sidewalk or your walk path, they can be trimmed. It won't hurt the plant. So, don't hesitate to trim errant leaves or reach up underneath and trim bottom leaves. Trimming won't hurt it whatsoever. We limbed up the Dracaena Draco, and we moved the Trigona. I think this is the masterpiece of the day, is moving that Euphorbia Trigona from behind the balsamifolia over to there. Not only did we cover the spigot, the hose spigot, but now it's showcased. Limbed a lot of the this euphorbia out, opened it up so it's just airy. This is going to be a really beautiful bonsai in time. So I just want to start taking off some of the smaller branches, keeping it airy. I want to be able to see through it, and eventually I really want to showcase the beautiful branching as it gets thicker. What do we do here? There was no evidence of aloe mite in that Cynthia Giddy, so it stood. The Yucca rostrata, you see the brown leaves at the base of the plant. I didn't try to go after those. One, I'm not a total masochist, and two, the idea is as this begins to trunk and get taller, those bottom leaves hug the trunk of the plant, protecting it from sunburn, which is important here in Granite Hills because it does get so hot.
You forgot one.
What? What, this?
Yeah.
Oh, here's here's a, oh, it's still attached. A little, look at that. Woo! Quadricolor. See, this is what they do. So it's really easy usually to just pull them right out of the ground. I took about 10 off of this stand and left a few that I thought looked pretty. Didn't need to bother this Cynthia Giddy either. It looks terrific. So yeah, you know, there you have it. Our client Susan is doing a great job of maintaining the Portulacarias. They look really beautiful. And, you know, I think we're good for another year and a half. You want to take a look at the Cactus Garden, Hannah? We also installed some Xeriscape over here a year and a half ago. It might have actually only been a year ago, right? I think we did this. No, we did it at the same time. This does not get any irrigation, although our client did come out in the hottest part of the summer months last year and apply a little bit of water, which I'm sure the plants thoroughly appreciated. Yeah, they're plump. Eventually, the Sapuntia is going to need some work and limbed up. It's going to crowd that that cactus. But right now, I'm just really happy with this and don't need to do a gosh darn thing. Look at that view, Han. Woo-wee, right? Love me some succulents. This has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity reporting in Granite Hills, California with maintenance after a year and a half and your succulent tip of the day. Hope this helped. Bye, guys.